What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're taking a look at Hank Pym's Giant Man and Janet Van Dyne's Wasp. Let's see what we've got going on. Let's check it out.
Now tuning into the encountered culture.
I'd rather be drinking with my friends. When we go out, you never see us again.
As promised, today we'll be taking a look at Hank Pym's Giant Man, Janet Van Dyne's Wasp. Let's see what we've got going on. Taking a look at the packaging, of course we are under the Marvel Legends series, Avengers Beyond Earth's Mightiest. You've got Hank, you've got Janet there, looking pretty good. Lots of accessories, a lot going on in here, so you gotta enjoy that. A little bit of a logo at the top there, continuing the 60 years from last year. Giant Man and Wasp on the side there. A little bit of stuff on the back. Nice image. I do like this. You got some warnings, important information down there. Hank Pym and Janet Van Dyne use Pym particles to manipulate size and defend Earth as members of the first Avengers team. So, a little bit of stuff there. And another image of Giant Man and Wasp on that side. This one was a pack that was interesting, right? Went up for pre-order, shipped the next day. So I guess went up for order, not pre-order, right? But hey, a little bit more of that, and I'm happy. I like that. I like that turnaround time, no waiting. Looking forward to getting the HasLab closer to the end of the year. This will pair so nicely with that. But let's get them out of the box. Fresh out of the box, there is a lot to like here. Of course, we had the Wasp figure teased a while ago. We didn't know if this was going to be on a retro card, a single release in a bath wave, or the 2-pack, right? So I do think the 2-pack is a good call. These obviously would have been figures that would have been tiers for the HasLab in previous years, but I do like that they went away from those. So for those of you who didn't care to back the HasLab but still wanted these characters in your displays, it's the best of both worlds. So you still get this. Those of us who are waiting on the HasLab, we get that and this. It's going to be a nice combination, so I'm certainly looking forward to that. You get a lot here, lots of accessories, a miniature Quinjet, extra heads, some beakers. You get this little pad. We've seen a similar version with the translucent plastic in the past. Extra hands, wings, a cloth goods lab coat. I don't care for the cloth goods so much on Legends. The cloth always just looks really big and out of place. But for those of you who like the cloth goods, that's good for you. I kind of like the plastic lab coats that they've used in the past, but that's a personal preference thing. Let me know what you think about it down in the comments below. If you're happy that you're getting soft goods like this on Marvel Legends, just let me know. I'm not really a fan of it, but that's just me. Taking a look at Janet, so very nice iteration of this classic costume. This is a great looking figure. You have your wings, they do break off into individual pieces, so they just port into each other like that, and then right into the back, and you can do that for both sides and move them around however you'd like. Go with one wing or two wings, you've got options, so always good. Same wings that we saw with the retro card release of Wasp, but I really don't mind reuse on something like this. There's no need to create all new wings for a character that would just use these wings, and they look good. They work really well. Great aesthetic throughout. The W has a really nice shimmer to it, which matches sort of the top of the mask here. So nice way to tie those in. You've got some really good things going on. I do like that the comm piece does move around. They pointed that out when they were doing the live stream for this, so really cool that they were able to incorporate that in there. Great looking pieces. Belt is a separate piece, so you can move that around a little bit. Looks really good. Pretty decent paint throughout. I don't see any significant issues there, so so far so good. Let's take a look at extra head and extra hands. First up, here's your alternate head sculpt for Janet, and my oh my, this is a fantastic looking face sculpt. Just extremely nice detail in there, really great coloring. The eyes, they really pop. There's a lot to like about this and very little to say negatively. Of course, wash through the hair is always a nice addition when they do that. But for this like straight brunette hair, I don't think it really makes a ton of difference, especially with how well this face sculpt has come out. There's your set of fists, and then there are your open hands. As far as your articulation goes, the head, she'll look down to about there. She will look up to about there. So not up so much. Plenty of rock side to side, so you can get a ton of range going around. Of course, the head will go all the way around. You are on a ball peg up in the neck there. Nothing at the lower part of the neck. Arm will go up to about there, and it will go all the way around. Upper bicep cut, double jointed, pinless elbows. Nothing at the forearm, and then your hinge and swivel at the wrist. You've only got the single bell down in the waist there, so no ab crunch, anything like that. So you are very limited throughout the torso. That's going to be a point of contention, I believe, for a lot of people. It really limits your display ability, you know. And then leg will kick up to about there, back to about there, and then out to about there. Upper thigh cut, double jointed, pinless at the knee, nothing at the calf, and then just a hinge, a little bit of swivel at the ankle down there, and nice flat feet. Wings, of course, do have the up and down. You can move those however you like, and then they do have a hinge that will allow you to move it back and forth however you would like to do so. Moving over to Hank Pym, aka Giant Man, we can see some really nice detail in the face sculpt. It's fairly similar to the face sculpt we got in the West Coast Avengers pack. I'm pretty sure it's the exact sculpt with just a little bit of different paint, a little slight variation to the eyebrows there. But so you got your soft goods, some nice coloring throughout. I mean, it's a great representation of Giant Man. I'm looking forward to switching out these heads, getting this coat off, seeing what he looks like there. But for those of you who just want him in the lab coat, the lab coat's not terrible. With 6-inch scale figures and soft goods, it tends to not look very good, in my opinion, because it just seems loose, quite baggy, and almost like he's wearing his father's lab coat here, right? So that's just my personal gripe about it. For those of you who are very much interested in the soft goods, more power to you. I get it, but it's definitely not for me personally. So you do have your unmasked head. Your first set of hands include a fist and a trigger finger, and it does have that vertical hinge on there. I realize like they have it there so he can hold, these beakers and things, but there are definitely other hands in the Marvel Legends line that would lend to that a little bit better. So the use of a trigger finger here is interesting. Also, Janet doesn't have any hands where she can hold anything. So that's another interesting call for the hand selection here. Of course, you have the masked head, which is certainly my preferred option. The ultimate goal here will be when the HasLab arrives to have sort of the tiered growing effect going. Of course, I'm going to have to mix in like the old bath to do it, which doesn't totally match, but the overall idea is there, right? It would have been great to have received the tiny versions like we did with the retro cards. I do feel like that would have been a super nice touch for this pack. But aesthetically, this is a cool looking figure. I like it a lot. I think it's going to look really nice in the display once all is said and done. As far as articulation goes, he will look down pretty much all the way. The chin almost touches the chest. He'll look up pretty far. That's good. I like that. A good amount of range. You don't get a ton of gap up front here, so that is pretty good. And yeah, you also don't get a ton of gap in the back either. So all around, the up and down is pretty good on there. A little bit of tilt side to side, not a ton, so you can kind of do that. And of course, you get all the typical range in the head and neck area there. Butterflies, so you got all of that back and forth if you need it there. Arm will go out to right about there, and of course all the way around. Upper bicep cut, double jointed, pinless elbows. Pretty smooth transition there. Nothing in the forearm, and then your hinge and swivel on your hands. Of course, these other hands are all on the horizontal except for the trigger finger, which is on that vertical hinge. But yeah, so you got that. Ab crunch. Get you nice movement there, but you are, you're limited by these older articulation styles. So the hip swivel and the basic ab crunch. I don't think it takes away from the figure though. I like when you have a belt like this, it covers that sort of gap in there. To me, it'll look clean aesthetically in a display, so no major issues for me. Leg will kick up to about there and back to about there, out to about there, and then you do have your upper thigh swivel, double jointed, pinless at the knee, boot cut, and your hinge and swivel at the ankle, which gets you all kinds of motion. Not a lot of gap in the ab crunch on either side, so that's good. Of course, you would have like that going, but you do have the belt there. Although, that's the chief complaint with this type of hip swivel is, getting that right there. This just doesn't look good, but that really just depends on how you're displaying. For your accessories, you do have your two types of beakers there. They're not beakers. Somebody's going to correct me on that, but you get what I'm saying. There's your board. So this is slightly different than the translucent version we've received a couple of times, but that's cool. That adds something new to the collection there. May not use it for this set, but it'll definitely get used. And then there is your little mini Quinjet, which does look pretty neat. A nice addition. For your size comparison, I do have her backed up against our retro carded Wasp. You can see she's slightly shorter than the retro card version of Wasp. Not a huge difference in height. The newer figure is overall a better looking figure. So I don't have any issues about the height there, but just in case you are curious, that's what you'll see. So again, just a little bit shorter than your retro carded Wasp. And for Giant Man, Hank Pym, roughly the same height. These boots on the civilian suited body do give him a little height advantage. Body-wise, though, a little bit bulkier in the civilian suit, so not totally consistent figure to figure. You can argue he can change size, right? Sure. But if you're just going from a purely aesthetic standpoint, I don't know how many people are going to have these two on the same shelf together, but just to give you an idea, the frame is slightly smaller on the 2-pack Hank Pym versus the West Coast Avengers civilian suited Hank Pym. All right, folks, well, there you have it. There is your Hank Pym and Janet Van Dyne 2-pack. A quick turnaround order. You ordered it one day, it shipped the next. I liked it. I do wish that would happen more frequently. Doesn't have to happen all the time. We can kind of spread out pre-orders and stuff, but it was a really nice surprise to have this ship immediately. So kudos to the team for that. I do love that. Couple of things I would have liked to have seen in this pack would be the miniaturized versions of each character. Similar to what we received in the retro card, with Wasp, we got a very miniature Ant-Man, and with Ant-Man, we got a very miniature Wasp. So that would have been like the cherry on top, if you will, for this pack. It just would have elevated it ever so slightly. But Still a really nice looking pack. I love that we've got this size of Giant Man to go with the HasLab later on this year. Love that we got this version of Wasp. I know a lot of people have been waiting a long time for this costume, and now we've received it. The head sculpts look beautiful, really well executed all around on both. Even though like the Hank Pym is just a slightly updated head sculpt, it still looks really good. The Janet head sculpts are absolutely a standout in this pack, so there is a lot to like about this. I think even if you're not waiting for the HasLab, you're going to enjoy this pack. If you're just a classic Avengers collector, then this is a must-add for you. Exclusive pack, so maybe one you don't want to wait too long on. Certainly something to consider, but I'm happy that I got it. Really happy with the quick turnaround. All around, I would recommend this 2-pack for any Marvel Legends collector. It's a good set. That's what I got to say about it. That's the 2 cents. Do what you want with that information. Of course, you can always find me on any of these socials down here. Most importantly, though, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe below. And until next time, take it easy.
I'm being erased, I'm being replaced. Counterculture's in your face. It's fun to pretend that you want it to end. I'd rather be drinking with my friends. When we go out, you'll never see us again.